Welcome to the setup demo for CT Secure Cloud Backup powered by Veeam. In this video we're going to run through how you connect to CT as a service provider, demonstrate that the repository has been added automatically, create a backup copy job and run through network throttling. So to start, when you have received your details from CT, you need to go to your Veeam Backup and Replication Interface, Backup Infrastructure, Service Providers, and you can click Add a Service Provider. Now, all you need to do at this point is enter the URL, which you will also have been provided. Yours may look a touch different to mine. And click Next. You would have noticed there that the port was 6180. You need to make sure that that is allowed outbound on your firewall if you do have a restricted firewall policy. At this point you can verify a certificate if you wish to do so, and simply add your credential. Now mine's already been pre-populated. So I click Apply. It just validates the connection to the service provider. As a quick check, this is what's available to me at the moment: 5 terabytes of non-accelerated backup repository. The WAN acceleration itself was designed for unstable and slow internet connections to minimize traffic going over the wire. However, with modern internet connections being what they are, it's not really needed these days, and generally speaking, if you've got a leased line or a good fibre internet connection, the WAN acceleration can in some instances actually slow down your copy job. It's something you can discuss with your account manager if you have any more queries around that. So we'll just click through that wizard again, next, finish, and you'll just see it now start to populate the system with the service provider settings, and it's now just doing a little scan of the resources and any backup files that may be in there and adding them to the repositories for us. It takes a shade under 30 seconds usually. There we go. So if we just go to backup repositories, we'll see we now have a cloud repository of 5 terabytes capacity. So how do we use a repository? If we go back to home, you'll see I've got a local backup job, and we now need to add a backup copy job. So simply call this cloud copy 1. Call it whatever you want. You can leave the copy interval daily resetting at midnight. It's just a refresh cycle on the copy job, because there's a couple of ways you can add sources to these copy jobs, which I'll show you in a moment. When you're seeding, you may be advised to increase this to maybe 7 days initially to give the first cycle a chance to seed your first backup. That's something that your account manager will run through with you at the time. On the next page, we add what objects, sources, we're going to process with this backup copy job. Now, when you click Add, there are 3: infrastructure, backups, and jobs. Infrastructure and backups are simply ways, well, all 3 of them, I suppose, are really ways of just identifying which virtual machines or backups of virtual machines we want to copy to the cloud. Infrastructure is looking directly at your VMware or Hyper-V infrastructure and saying these individual VMs or the whole cluster or these tagged groups of VMs are what we're looking for. And then Veeam will go through all the local backup repositories trying to find the most current restore points for those VMs, and it will copy them up to the cloud repository for you. Backups is very similar. Backups is just looking at any backup jobs, and you can highlight the backup job or individual VMs within it and click Add, and you'll see that it's added the 2 VMs. The way I prefer to do it generally is from jobs, and the reason for that is that this now links the secondary backup copy job as a secondary destination to the local backup job, so they're now effectively daisy chained together, and that means any changes I make to the local backup job, adding or removing VMs, will reflect straight through to the backup copy job for me, and I won't have to go back in here and change anything. If, however, I had chosen the infrastructure or backups option to select VMs, if we go to source, you can specify which repositories it's going to refer to try and find restore points for those VMs. If we click Next, now obviously here we need to select the target as the cloud repository, because you can use backup copy jobs for other purposes than cloud. It's just going to query the repository for free space, and the default is 7 restore points to keep. That is something we generally recommend. You don't really need to do anything beyond that, because the cloud repository is your off-site, it's your rainy day disaster kind of stash of backups. You do want to keep a few in case you did get a virus or any corruption, but beyond 7's probably negligible return on investment. One thing you could do if you did want to is keep some archival backups, some GFS backups, and they can be weekly, monthly or quarterly. Do discuss that with your account manager because that will obviously increase the amount of storage you need in the cloud quite considerably. One thing before we move on, you need to go into advanced here and just make sure under the storage tab that you have enabled backup file encryption to secure your data on our platform. Click next. You'll see here again we're just double checking it's a direct backup. We're not using a WAN accelerator. Leave the schedule as any time because we'll use a network throttling to manage any backup copy that may be running during the working day. I'm not going to enable this because we're going to have a quick look at that network throttling next. It's as simple as that. It's all set up now. I can just right click and uncheck disable to enable a job, and it will start looking for the most recent restore points and copying them to the cloud. But before we do that, if we go into the Veeam backup application main menu and click on network traffic rules, you can see here that there's an internet rule already there. That is in this latest patch 9.5 update 4, may have been in there from update 3. In previous patches it wasn't in there, and you'd have had to go and add and specify an internal and external IP range to apply a rule to. We're now able to just use this internet rule. So if you don't have it, feel free to create one. We can assist you that if you need. And then it's simply a case of setting up your schedule. Now Veeam will automatically encrypt network traffic that's going out of your network, but you can tick the box there to reassure yourself as much as anything. And then by ticking the enable throttle network traffic, we can specify how many megabits per second we want and what time periods we want to throttle it. So we're going to leave the backup copy job running all the time, but during the working day here I've selected a period from 6 AM till 7 PM where we're just going to throttle it down on the upload to 5 megabits per second. Once that's done, I can go and enable my backup copy job at my leisure. So thank you for watching this video. We have covered how to add CT as a service provider, demonstrated it automatically adds the cloud repository for you, how to create a backup copy job and select your sources and destinations in there, and finally we have covered network throttling. I hope you enjoyed the video. Thank you.